Welcome to the Veterans Voice, where we highlight programs and services that benefit our veterans and family members in the greater Houston area. I'm your host, Tim Stroud. Leadership and collaboration are two soft skills the military seeks to develop. Impact a Hero builds on that foundation to benefit veterans, their families, and in the community. We're joined by Executive Director Constance White for the details. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tim.
I know it's kind of like a reunion because you and I have known each other quite some time.
Mhm.
And I know I can just go check mark, check mark, check mark, because I know the programs that you offer. But for our viewers and listeners right now that are tuning in, let's give that umbrella of services that you offer.
Thank you. And you have been involved. And you've probably been to every one of our workshops. So appreciate it.
I thought you were going to say you're committed. And I was going to say,
Yeah. And you are committed.
my family members would say I need to be committed.
Yes. And I can tell over the years it's helped you a lot, Tim.
Thank you, Constance.
Thanks very much. The Impact a Hero mission is to serve our veterans, military service members, and their entire family through our really wonderful personal development and leadership classes. And so we really hone in on the community. And when I say community, it's not just the veteran community, but it's the community of Houston. It's the community of our veterans' families. So community is just an outreach of where veterans are in the community they live and serve and participate in.
You know what I was thinking about when we were talking last week is like service dogs. You think of the canine support animals. There's service dogs, one-on-one. There's therapy dogs, one-on-many. You offer all of those programs, not the service dog programs, but the one-on-one and one-on-many. Let's start there and talk about what you do one-on-one with the veterans and then the workshops.
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to thank Houston Community College. We have our Leadership Academy, which is 8 weeks, led by a United States veteran as a commitment. It's out at HCC, out in Sugar Land area, Fort Bend County. And that's one of our veterans. And it's really teaching the cornerstones of leadership. And as we all know, or you veterans know, leadership is a little bit different in the active service as it is when you get out in civilian. And just as all transparent, I'm not a veteran. But I'm a passionate patriot. My father served in the United States Army, but I'm here to help and I have a long history with Impact a Hero. So I've learned to know veterans such as yourself, Tim, and others. And so I can speak what I do know and what I've learned over the last 4 years about what our veterans are looking for. We also have heroic self-care. It's just about learning more about your emotions, because if you don't, they're going to own you one day. And that'll help you be a better community leader. And again, it's facilitated by a U.S. Army combat veteran. And then we have Heroic Self-Care, which is an all-day retreat, and it's in partnership with the Institute for Spirituality and Health. And this is really a wonderful, fairly new program over the last 3 years. We're holding it quarterly, but it's just for caregivers, veterans, active service members to really better understand how anxiety can be treated through mind-body skills, whether it's breathing, meditation, and just learning about it and understanding how trauma actually, helping to just pursue anxiety, and then how you can help with yourself and, again, become a better father, mother, community leader, and family member.
Now, all that ties into your EQ classes, correct?
Right, emotional intelligence. And so, as I mentioned just now, we have a wonderful class, and it's taught by a United States combat veteran. And one of the programs that we're really excited about, and I know that we're going to talk about it, is Camp Impact. So when you're ready, I'll tell you all about Camp Impact.
Well, let's dovetail into there right after we talk about the Casey Owens Memorial Library that's housed at Impact a Hero inside Combined Arms.
Yes. First of all, I just want to say, if you're not connected as a veteran, please contact combinedarms.us and go on their website and really understand all the wonderful veteran service network that you'll find there, including Impact a Hero. We're located at McKinney, just near Dynamo Stadium and Astros Foundation area. So the Casey Owens Memorial Library was named in memorial of Casey Owens. Casey was a Marine, combat veteran, came back, double amputee, really did wonderful in providing a voice, what the VA can do better, how veterans can have more help. And we got to know him as Impact Hero, just a voice for us. And unfortunately, the PTSD got the best of Casey, and he left us 10 years after he was honorably discharged. And so we have his uniform in the library, and it has a beautiful inventory of veteran authored books, personal growth and leadership books. And tomorrow, I'm happy to say that I'm taking a new supply of our inventory to our Casey Owens Memorial Library, the Camp Hope Annex. So those who are in residential program at Camp Hope are able to learn more about Casey and also read some wonderful books.
All right. I know one of the words you were looking for was Dakin Park. That's a tough one to remember because you always, I know I want to default back to the old sponsor. And that reminds me, you do so much in the community with Impact a Hero. There are sporting events, there are the retreats. You have some fancy schmancy events that are coming up in the fall. But let's talk about the golf tournament that's coming up. Then we can talk a little bit about the gala as well. Is that okay?
Sure. So we have two major events during the year. Next Wednesday, the 14th, at Black Horse Golf Club. We still have room, and happy to have any of you veterans that would like to play golf contact me, and we'll be happy to put you on a team. And but the most important event we put on is really the Legacy of Freedom Gala, and that's the Saturday night of Veterans Day weekend. And we honor veterans. It's very reverent. It's a beautiful evening, and we have sponsorships, and we also have tables sponsored for veterans to attend.
And with that, it's not just for the sponsors. This is for the community to see what is actively going on with our veterans and their families as they transition to Houston, which is now the third largest city in the United States. And there's a reason that so many veterans and families migrate to Houston, because it's the economy, it's the jobs, it's the colleges, the schools, the programs that don't need a 4-year degree. Hence the community that just welcomes our heroes with open arms. And that means they need to be educated as well. And so the next 30 seconds, Constance, you have free range. Tell them a little bit more about Impact a Hero.
Thanks. Well, I just appreciate it. Covered a little bit about Impact a Hero. And the one thing I'd like to say is that we welcome all veterans, whether you're post 9/11, from Vietnam era, wherever you are. We welcome you, and we are happy to help how we can. I just recently attended a town hall put on by the City of Houston Mayor's office. And one of the outcomes from there is a lot of veterans in our Houston community just don't know where to go. They don't know we have this wonderful veterans community. So I would encourage all the veterans to check out Combined Arms. You'll find Impact a Hero there and other menu of veteran groups that can help you where you are. And so I know pride is a big thing for veterans, and but this is just such a wonderful community, and everyone's there to help each other. So feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm at Combined Arms. I'm right next door to the gym, which is open for free at no charge for veterans. Actually was just at the office this morning and met a veteran who, because of Combined Arms, and he found out about the veteran community that's out there. And I think he's come into our next leadership program. So
that sounds great.
It takes the community.
Thank you. And after the break, we'll explore veteran resources at HCC.
Learning looks like this, and it also looks like...
I didn't just study buildings. I connected them with tech to make them smarter.
I'm learning healthcare management while providing patient care.
I worked with these control systems way before I even started the job.
And if I can't make it in person, I take my classes online.
So, where do you start?
Welcome back to the Veterans Voice. Houston Community College welcomes military students and veterans and is seeking to develop the next generation of military leaders. Interim Executive Director of Military Education Programs, that's a long title, Robert Hammer, Glover joins us today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it.
All right. I know what you do, but for those who are listening and watching today, let's give them an overview. Let's paint with some broad strokes, and then we'll fill in with some of the finer details.
Okay, well, 14 months ago, now officially an anniversary, 14 months ago, I was brought in by the chancellor to brief her entire staff about how to establish an ROTC program here at HCC. Excuse me. So that morphed into creating partnerships with the 3 ROTC programs here in Houston: Rice University for Navy ROTC, University of Houston for Army and Air Force ROTC. So that's the piece of cake. The big part of that's officer sessions. Well, what are our different programs for students here at HCC and prospective students to get into some of these programs? A large degree of them also not requiring you to go into the military, but to be a civilian across the DoD, for example. So over the last 14 months, what I've been able to accomplish here is to establish those programs and get those opportunities out to our students and to our prospective students, our high schoolers. And now moving forward, also branching out into the middle school range. So you plant the seeds early for military leadership, educational leadership, and careers that really, really do pay dividends across the spectrum of what we do here at HCC.
And with the larger cities that we were just talking about, you always increase crime, homelessness, and with our level of or number of veterans, that also means a large number of those who have PTSD. So what are you and the organization doing to help combat that?
Well, we actually do a lot of coordination with our Veterans Military Assistance support staff across the street from us in 3200 Main. And there are a whole bunch of different programs like our Mental Health First Aid program, which is sponsored by the National Council for Mental Well-Being. We also do a lot of PTSD counseling for those who seek it out here at HCC with our veteran community, our veteran students per se. There's about 3,500 of those here at HCC, across HCC. We also have suicide prevention programs. If you're not aware, still the number is way too high, but it's 24 veterans per day are committing suicide. So that's something that we work to try to combat. We also have domestic violence programs and other professional counseling that's offered to us by our cooperative agreements with the Veterans Administration here at DeBakey. So a lot of things going on out there for our veterans, and a lot of things going on out there for our homeless veterans. And let me take a pause right there. That's an oxymoron, homeless veterans, okay? And I say oxymoron because, look, our country, this country, made a commitment to our veterans that we would always be able to take care of them. And having a category like homeless veteran, that just doesn't work for me personally, because quite frankly, there's not a reason why someone who has served their country, male, female, whatever, comes back from a war and does not have the tools necessary to continue on in their lives in a manner that is honorable and respectful.
I completely agree with you. And if you look at the funding over the last 20 years that have been thrown at the problem, and I'm looking for solutions. And, you know, I've got special training in SAP and Black Belt and Lean Six Sigma. I know you went to the War College. You look at stuff at a 30,000 foot range. You're like, oh man, that's exactly where you're going wrong. But sometimes in politics, it gets stuck into that red tape. Thankfully, we have a lot of people on the local and state level working on the federal to get where we need to be. And taking care of Houston comes from the heart. And taking a quick sidebar, man, I love what you do in the community, not just here at HCC. And I want to get to the career paths that veterans and their family members can take. But I want you to talk about some of the other programs like OCS USA, of how we're catching those who are just entering in the military and giving them that ray of sunshine, that hope.
Well, first of all, what I've tried really hard to establish here is our relationship, the college's relationship to our veteran service organizations. OCS, which Tim just referenced, stands for Our Community Salutes. That organization travels city to city across the country, celebrating young men and women who have made the commitment, who have that propensity to serve, as well as the desire to be a part of something bigger than themselves. To when they enter the military, they enlist in the military across the services, whether it's Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, Air Force, Space Force. And please take note of that, folks. There will be a test later. And the big thing is, when you've made that commitment, when you've signed that contract, you're on a pathway for greater success, learning a lot of skills, also learning a lot about leadership, and also becoming that kind of person that different organizations, different corporations want in their next hire. Okay, because what we bring to the table, you hand me 5 problems, and Tim is very familiar with this, being an Army veteran himself. You hand either one of us 5 problems, we're going to get done with the first one, and we're doing this right here. On to the next thing, because that's how we roll. That's how we function. And that's what we can bring to the marketplace, to the industry, wherever it happens to be. Tons of programs that we've initiated here, a lot of which don't have anything to do about getting back into uniform. So if there are veterans who don't want to go back into uniform, there are tons of opportunities there, different programs. I'll give you an example. Viceroy program. Viceroy stands for Virtual Institute for Cyber Security and Electromagnetic Spectrum Research and Employ. It is a program designed to take care of the high demand, lots of boat spaces, low density, not enough people situation. Across the Department of Defense itself, there are 27,000 vacancies in cybersecurity. So the Viceroy program is a way to help mitigate that particular problem by putting cybersecurity professionals trained here at HCC and then going on to get their 4-year degrees, their bachelor's degrees, going into the Department of Defense to fix an issue with dealing directly with national security. Another thing that we do here is we're bringing back our geospatial information system, which allows us to take care of veterans who have that experience and also get a workforce certification or even an associate's degree in that particular discipline so they can go on and do other things related to what they might have done in the past, or they're picking up a new skill in GIS. One other thing, I'm really working hard to develop a data center operations curriculum here at HCC. If you look at all the data centers that are around the world, and in Texas alone, up in the Dallas area, there's 5. Here in Houston is about 2. One in particular I'll pick on is Stream up in the Woodlands area. 80% of their employees are veterans. Of that 80%, 50% of those are nukes. And so that's another opportunity where we can expand our portfolio to help veterans find employment in the future.
Mr. Glover Hammer, and I love the quote by Bruce Lee when he was asked, what is the secret to life? He said, be like water. And that's what you and the organization is doing. And no longer are you looking for the 2-year, 4-year, 6-year degree. People are looking for certifications, a specific type of training to make sure that our veterans are going into the right career, not just a job. You've got 15 seconds. What else do you want to talk about?
Well, I will say that everything that we do, everything that we created in the last 14 months is House Bill HB 8 compliant in terms of creating credentials of value and graduates who have those skill sets to go out there and be in the workforce here in Texas. So that's a biggie.
I love your heart, and I love your power to move forward through all that and be a professional problem solver. After the break, we're going to meet an HCC faculty member with a passion for self-advocacy.
Learning looks like this, and it also looks like
I'm not just studying agriculture. I'm learning how to grow for the future.
I came back to grow my skills even after I graduated.
I'm not just studying AI. I'm designing solutions to make the world a better place for us all.
And if I can't make it in person, I take my classes online.
So, where do you start?
Welcome back to the Veteran's Voice. Veterans have unique concerns and issues that may not be at the top of mind for policymakers. Dr. Juan Crawford believes veterans can be empowered to advocate for those concerns. Welcome to the show.
It is good to be here.
All right. It's better to be seen and not viewed.
Yes.
Okay. And you were an Air Force veteran, is that correct?
Yes, the best branch of the military.
Oh, hey, yes. There's a dagger right there. I don't know if you can pull it out or just twist it. I kid. You know, that's the thing about it, the camaraderie and the tete-a-tete that we have with each of the units. I say my favorite unit is the one that changed your life and changed your trajectory.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's talk about your advocacy.
Well, my advocacy is that veterans need to vote.
Okay.
And how can veterans turn around and do that? When we leave the service, our duty to the United States doesn't stop.
Correct.
So how do we continue to get that on and continue to move forward in that direction?
All right. And so I know you're a division chair and you've got a lot on your plate. You got the steak, potatoes, and everything in there. Let's talk about what you do here, and then let's talk about the advocacy, okay?
Okay. So what I do here is I am the chairman of the board. I'm the chairman of the board. I'm the chairman of real estate, marketing, banking, finance, paralegal, translation, interpretation. So I have 5 different departments right now. We have almost 4,000 students come a semester. We have about 48 faculty, and we house, I think this semester, about 225 different classes.
Wow. One of the classes that I used to teach is financial responsibility, and the goal was to teach how to live like a captain on a corporal's budget. The number one request is how to use their VA loan to purchase a home. And so everything that you're doing in the housing section and real estate is definitely much needed. Okay, now let's switch gears. Let's go back into voting, and let's talk about why it's important and why veterans aren't voting.
Veterans aren't voting because they don't think that their vote counts. And that's a trick of the enemy. He is to teach you that your vote doesn't count, but it actually does. We have leadership. We have the ability to, the United States Air Force, I looked at how much they spent to take me to basic training, to officer training school, to squadron officer school, all those other things. I counted they spent about $1.5 million.
Holy smokes.
On my training.
That's healthy.
That's a lot of training. And I should give that back to the U.S. citizen.
Okay.
And so I can do that by my service to them. So I can do that by my service to, I work at Houston Community College. I'm not here for the money. No, but we work in service because that's what we are supposed to do. From a voting standpoint, we have our local elections that determine how we live, how much healthcare we spend, what our houses, what our kids go to school. I'll give you a real example of the local election. I live over in the Cypress area.
Okay.
Cypher ISD, through a local election, has said that there are no more buses if the child is within 1 mile of school. Telge has no sidewalks.
Ouch. I see a problem here.
There's a problem there, but because we don't get enough votes to say don't do that to our kids, we think that, we just need to vote for the president. No, a lot of local elections are what we need to do. We need to put our heads in there. So when you look at the things that are going on, I said, how can I make a difference? And that's how I can make a difference.
All right. And for those who are listening and just tuning into this this program, when he's talking about the Cypress, Fairbanks area, Cy-Fair, that is not a desolate area of Houston. It's not a master plan community like the Woodlands or Sugarland, but it's really close. It's very affluent. In fact, their fire department is the #1 fire department because of its funding in the United States. They flock to that area because of the training, the equipment, and the people. And to hear that the education is getting left behind because of oversight. And you're exactly right. When we talk about voting, you can vote in people at the down range from dog catcher. You actually have to vote for dog catcher these days, up to president, but everything in between it, including the bonds that you were referred to, but also everything from sidewalks to zoning. And so it's so important. And you're right. When we get in the military, it's right time, right place, right uniform, but it's usually the same uniform as everybody. And when we transition out, it's hard for some of us to.
It doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop when we transition out.
Right.
I didn't stop caring about society. I didn't stop caring about what was next. I didn't stop caring about how I could help. Those are all things that I cared about when I was in the military, but I didn't stop that when I came out. And so as far as from a sense of duty, I have a sense of duty, and that's the sense of duty.
Well, let's get back to voting because it's very important. So are there barriers to veterans voting that you think that are out there, or
yes, I think that there are barriers.
Okay.
I think that when a veteran, as far as when we leave places, we leave frequently. We don't have identification. There's things that that we don't have that we need. But vote.text, I think it's votetext.gov is an excellent resource. At Houston Community College, we have a whole department for veteran affairs. Excellent resource. So to see that, yes, there are problems out there. Yes, there are barriers out there, but I'm not going to sit in my driveway and wait on all the lights to turn green before I go.
Right.
Because they're never going to alter. And then I would just be stuck there, and I would stay right there, stay right there. So I'm going to know that if I run out, there are going to be some red lights, but they will go green. There are people out there to help me.
Or just turn right. You can go right on red. It's Texas.
Absolutely.
I love your approach on this one, because if you're listening out there, it doesn't matter if you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, or one of the other 30 different parties that are out there. You don't have to run for office, but you do have to make sure that you're running to the polls and you're registering and everything from getting your driver's license. But it's the Battle Buddy system. We double the number of veterans that vote when we simply take a Battle Buddy with us. And we've got 1 minute left, if I'm not mistaken. So we need to talk about civic action and what we can do to inspire our brothers and sisters to move forward.
Okay. Well, I would put a plug here right now for Camp Hope. Camp Hope is for veterans with PTSD, but there are so many veterans that don't know about Camp Hope. They don't go. It's right off of 249 near Fallbrook. But to plug in to help somebody get to where you are.
I love that one, and we've got a little bit more time. I want to talk about the advocacy for others. What would you say to somebody, a veteran or a family member that's listening right now and says, I want to get involved in some sort of aspect to help out veterans? Where's the first step?
The first thing, if they're listening to that here and they are part of the Houston Community College, then plug into Veteran Affairs.
Okay.
Plug into Veteran. If you can hear this, then plug into Veteran Affairs. There are so many different veteran organizations throughout Houston that I went to ChatGTP and said, how many veterans organizations can I go out there and speak with for free?
I love that. Look at you using technology the right way. I do that with my daughter, Amber. And if you're listening and you don't know where to plug in besides HCC, you can join us at Stay Tuned for Vets. You can join Easter Seals, Impact a Hero, or one of the other 1,500 that have a footprint in the greater Houston area. And if you'd like more information on any of the organizations and services that you've seen or heard on the program today, visit our website at hccs.edu/Veterans Voice. To listen to a podcast version of the show, just visit hcc.edu/podcasts. For everyone here at HCC and Stay Tuned for Vets, thank you for joining us at the Veterans Voice.